Good afternoon, I'm Steve Wiggins and I'm a Research Fellow at the Overseas Development Institute. And the two questions that I'm going to try and answer, the first one is, 1 year on from the global food crisis, what are the priorities for action? Well, first we have to understand what the global food crisis was about. And it was largely the results of movements of food prices, very volatile movements, of the main grains, wheat, rice and maize, on the international markets. It was the sharpest price rise seen in 34 years. And so our first priority is to make sure that that kind of event happens once every 34 years or even less often than that. And our analysis of the causes of those rising prices, the fundamental cause, was the lack of resilience in the system, the lack of stocks and the slowdown in global cereals production. And over the next few years we have to give serious attention to reinvigorating the growth of world cereals production and building up world cereal stocks, physical stocks I'm afraid, which will be expensive, to put some stability back in the system so that when things go wrong in the future, and they're more likely to have harvest failures with the climate change variations that we're expecting to see, that when things go wrong, we can adjust by quantities, not adjusting by prices. Now there are two other things that the global food crisis tell us about. And this responds to the second question, which was, in a changing world, what should our priorities be to enable a food secure world? Well, half the story of food security is a story about the cost of food. If we increase food production, if we keep the right stocks, we can control at a low price the cost of food. And historically, the cost of food has fallen very considerably. If we look over the last 40 years or the last 140 years, and that's the great success of world agriculture. But the other half of food security is about access to that food, and it's about jobs and incomes. And it underlines the challenge of development and the challenge of poverty reduction. And when we look at ways to create jobs, to reduce poverty, agricultural development itself is often an excellent way to do that, both in directly creating jobs and incomes and in indirect job creation through linkages into other parts of the economy. A thriving rural economy makes it easier to build a thriving urban economy. And the final part of the jigsaw is that food security is fundamentally about nutrition. And quite a part of nutrition is not just to do with food intake, but it's having your body in a position that it can take full use of those nutrients. So issues of primary health care, public health care, water and sanitation are equally important as agricultural development.